I made a bookcase once.
Ooh, cool.
Oh, no. I'm lying to you. CD case, CD holder. Remember CDs? Speaking of CDs, I ordered this. I thought it was an audio book. I thought it was a book. It's an audio book, but it would have been perfect right in that CD case holder.
Oh, yeah.
There we are. Live on January 31st, 2023. It is Triple T number 57. Who'd have thunk it? Coming at you live from Frosty, Texas. Like, burr. And I grew up in Minnesota, you know. But when, you know, like I told many people, the coldest part of winter in Minnesota is the front side of winter, because on the front side of winter, 40 degrees sucks. Backside of winter, 40 degrees is tank top shorts with sweeping the slush off of the sidewalk going, it is a beautiful day. Yes. Maybe I'll do some tanning or something, get rid of the winter white, you know. But yeah, so we're dealing with that now and watching Texans drive on icy roads. Best place to do it is from the comfort of your home. Guaranteed. Because where we live, the road goes and then it goes down into a gully and comes back up. Last year, when we got freezing rain, snow, and ice, we had 3 days of accidents in that gully. Well, you know, why not? Everybody needs a hobby. I was just thinking I should just, you know, tell the tow truck driver, we've got this beautiful big horseshoe driveway that your truck can fit in. You want to just park here and come on in and, you know, camp out in the spare bedroom and you can just go out every 2-3 hours and pull people out, you know. But we're not here to talk weather and driving conditions. We're here for Triple T. And for those of you that are watching live on YouTube, thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you. And if you would be so kind, if you're watching live or the recording, please make sure that you've clicked the subscribe and rang the bell and all the good things that we've learned how to do for YouTube. Not that I'm getting rich off this, but I just want to spread the word. And the more we get the clicks and the comments, the more people interact and the more we get out there. I also have a website, the TSWB.com. That's right, the tallskinnywhiteboy.com. Still cracks me up how many people are like, for real? I'm like, which part? That's the name? And they're laughing. I'm like, 6'4", $195. Yeah, I call it truth in advertising. In fact, if you'd have seen me back when I was like 17, 6'4", $155, that was definitely tall, skinny white boy. Yes, I could hide from people easily. I just went like this. The only person that could hide behind a small tree in the wintertime. So here we are. Number 57. Anybody got anything they want to share? For those of you that are not on camera, send me a text. And I forgot to put my message in there. Look at that. Yes, I'm one of those that actually has to stop talking while I type. Typing class was the worst class for me in high school. I went from an A to a B to a C to a D. Thank God there was only 4 quarters, because who knows where I would have ended up. There we go. And for those of you watching live or the recording, yes, we have some people on here who do not have their camera on. So you get to see these beautiful faces and mine. Any ahas, epiphanies from the last 7 days that y'all would like to share with the crowd before we do the deep dive?
I definitely had ahas and epiphanies, but I will wait until hour 2.
I'm gonna hold you to that. This is recorded. We can do rewind. So, Holly, anything you want to share before we dive into today's topics?
I'll just do a quick, I know I've kind of said this sort of thing before, but it's really sinking in how much tribe really matters, having the right tribe of people around you, because just being on here for a few minutes and I already just feel ready to take on the world. And a few days ago, it was like, not quite that way, but it's like, I always get to come back to this. I always get to touch base with this, and it just means the world. So thank you.
And we did not rehearse this, I promise, but it is the perfect segue into topic number 1. If you noticed the post on my Facebook page, which is under my name, TJ Zebel. Tonight's topics are no I in team, 5 points to love, and February 1st, 23. So, talking about tribes and all that stuff, no I in team. And anybody who's worked on any teams or stuff like that has obviously heard the expression. I'm obviously not the one who came up with it. But that includes, as Holly so graciously and beautifully pointed out, your tribe. It's a big world out there, getting smaller every day, but even with social media and all the above, there is no I in team. Even if you are a entrepreneur, all the above, you still need to surround yourself with the proper people. And that includes all sorts of interesting angles. One of the things that I heard, hello, Linda. And when I first heard it, I'll admit it didn't sink in nearly as much as I would have wanted it to, but I'm glad it kept hitting in, and that was, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And a number of the speakers in those areas are like, let me see the 5 people you hang out with the most, and I can tell you a whole lot about yourself. The other one I like is, if you are the smartest person in the room, you better be getting paid for a speech, or it's time to move on. I know I kind of twisted that around. That was my little twist on it. The original that I heard was, if you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to change rooms. But hey, maybe you're the expert for the day. And for my veterans on Triple T, who's the expert?
The one who knows a little bit more than everybody else.
Yes. Even if it's just a half a step more. So with no I in team, people can say, oh, he's self-made. But even then, you're going to be able to drill down and find some type of tribe, some type of support system, some type of whatever. And don't be afraid to search and build that team. In fact, I implore you to be very selective on how you build the team, where you find them, and to keep searching and improving. There have been a couple of clients I've worked with that were beating themselves up drastically over losing a friend or something, life happened, and I had to remind them that not everybody is put into your life for the rest of your life. Some come, some go. Some are only there for a long enough term to teach you the lesson you needed to learn from them, good and bad. In fact, some lessons can be learned from people in a very short time. And others we are blessed enough to have around long enough to realize how big of an impact they had before they're gone. And with those people, I would implore you to reach out. If you haven't talked to them in a long time, whether it's a email, or I would actually promote, write a letter, something they can hang on to, something they can feel the energy in, and simply tell them what they've managed to do for you, who you've become because of your interaction with them. I've been beyond blessed. I've had mentors that unquestionably have their fingerprints all over my life. And I got to thank one of them this summer, Uncle Hugh, who I've probably talked about before and gladly talk about again. An amazing, amazing man who was a Navy captain, Seabee, can build anything without blueprints. He built a blueprint in his head and go and build a house and build a huge workshop for himself for his carpentry stuff, and then decide that he's going to turn his workshop into another beautiful house with a basement. And got to watch him, and most of the stuff he did pretty much by himself. And now he's 80 years old and building his retirement house by himself. All the electrical, all the plumbing, putting up the beams, everything. Another one, Andy Lund, who allowed me to hang out in his mechanic shop when I was 11. Started working for him when I was 12. And for all of you that are like, oh, child labor, shut up. We need to get back to allowing kids to do dangerous things safely, carefully. A little quote from Jordan Peterson. I look at, with the stuff that I know about carpentry, construction, mechanics, things of that nature that I didn't go to a school for, I was allowed to be part of a team, even as a kid, and learn these skills that are still with me today, thank God. And I'm finding more and more kids are starting to get hungry for this type of leadership again. They're starting to see through what's going on in the world around them. And I get to talk to them. The problem is they've been so entranced and entrained by these things that they're like, well, is there a YouTube channel that I can watch? Like, of course you can. But it won't replace getting your hands on a piece of wood and trying to run it across a table saw, and knowing that if you are not focused, you could end up waving a little differently than everybody else. We had Tina's daughter's son-in-law here this summer. And for 2 weeks, first week, I kind of let him just free range do his thing. And he was in his tablet for a week. And then he, we'll just say, oopsied. And I told him no more electronics. We're working on the apartment doing construction. You get to come out and learn some stuff. And big shout out to Andy Texas, if you're on Instagram, for allowing Elijah to spend time and learn how to run a impact driver and a nail gun and all these things. And after a week, he was having a blast. He was working on projects, and that comes right back to know I and team. Being able to pull in people that may not have the skill set yet, but giving them the ability for the potential. I guarantee you, a lot of you know I'm on career number 28. And a lot of that was because I was traveling quite a bit for a while. And I just wanted to be able to, eat. And so I would look for any type of work. And, they'd be like, wow, have you done this type of work before? And I may or may not have exaggerated my abilities a little bit, but it was like, well, it's been a while since I've done it. Could you show me how you want it done? That way I can do it the right way instead of doing it the way that I did before. And baptism by fire, they call it. Jump right in with both feet and run like crazy, fake it till you make it, all the above. And it, because of one of my mottos that a few of you have heard, I was looking for a job when I got this one. I did my best until it was time to move on. There were a number of jobs that I knew this wasn't a career. This was keeping the lights on, food on the table, gas in the car until something better showed up. But it also allows me to, talk to people that have had that job. I was a window washer for a while, a short while. I was good at it, but I knew this was not my career, and I kept looking. And I've worked on garbage trucks. I've been a live-in nanny caretaker. I've done carpentry, construction, chef for hire, massage therapy, all these things. A, because I love to learn. B, I would probably have been diagnosed with ADD back before we labeled everything ADD. And I wasn't into sports or games. I just couldn't figure out how I was going to pay my bills playing sports. Nothing against sports. Good for teamwork. But when I had the choice between going to play baseball with the neighborhood kids or going to the mechanic shop and learning how to rebuild a small block Chevy, and the kids that were playing baseball, not a single one of them went on to play baseball. But they still let a game ruin their week during baseball season. Here's to you. And that was kind of a quick ramble on Noai and team. And it doesn't always have to be, like I said, business settings or sports settings, things of that nature. Families, marriages, neighborhoods, tribes. The more we can build a tribe within all of those different settings, the more we can enhance and open up our abilities for communication, understanding, the ability to help others, which is so important, the ability to learn how to ask for help and accept it. It's amazing the number of people that want to help people, but won't ask for help. I've been there, done that. But I've gotten much better. I'm actually one of those men that will actually ask for directions. I will stop in a store and ask, excuse me, where is this? Because I know that the person that has the answer feels as good as I do when they get to help me. Think about all the times that somebody's asked for your help and you had the ability to help them just like that. Whether it was small or huge or whatever, how did you feel right after you realized that you were actually able to help them? And you saw the gratitude on their face. You knew that you were the one that was able to help them. How did you feel? How easy is it for us to ask for help and allow other people to feel that feeling, and we get the help? out of it as well. Kind of like the random compliment type thing. I posted, I should see if I can find it. I posted on my Motivational Mondays. By the way, if any of you that are watching want to join my, yes.
I'm just gonna throw a thought out here.
Yep.
I used to have a very difficult time asking for help because I often thought that people would think that I am stupid, and it took a while and a lot of reframing. And thank you very much to TJ, who worked tirelessly to reframe for me. But to ask for help is incredibly humbling, but to also understand that you don't know what you don't know, and people aren't on the other side making fun of you or judging you for it, and to reach out and ask for help. And if perchance you run into the one asshole that does say something inaccurate and makes you feel uncomfortable for it, that's not the person. That's the only lesson to take from it, is that that person is simply not the person that is going to give you the best information, and to keep going and to keep looking and to keep asking.
And you said a perfect word in there. They gave you a lesson anyway.
Yeah.
You found out they're a Richard cranium, and that's on them.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yes. And I found this, and I'm going to read it. People wonder why I give so many compliments out to strangers. I'm not being fake, and let's see if I can. I'm not being fake, and I'm not looking for people to like me. But if I pass someone and I like something, I say it. Love those shoes, or great hair, or wow, your eyes are beautiful. Why? Because life is hard, and this world can be a shitty place. And people are mean. You never know how much those few words mean to someone. You never know what hell they may be going through. And when you put positivity out there into the universe, you yourself become a happier person. It's hard to be nice and be miserable yourself. It'll reflect from the outside in. I'm telling you, random compliment giving will change your life, and maybe someone else's too. Jordan Sarah Weatherhead. And I've said it a couple of times that, sometimes now with all this feminism and blah, 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 and I'm not going to turn this into a big but it's become harder for us men to give you ladies a compliment. And so I've learned that I almost have to do it on a flyby. I'm not hitting on you. It's just, hey, your hair looks great. Before it's like, well, what did he mean by that? Well, what I actually meant when I said your hair looks great was your hair looks great. I wish I would have, I'm sorry I didn't take any more time to put any hidden agenda inside of it. It just popped in my head like, wow, look, great hair. But on the other hand, I've said that and had a visceral positive reaction right away. And it was almost like I could tell they needed to hear that, and I had no idea, which again made me feel good, because it's not like I walked through Walmart going, great hair, hey, great hair, your hair looks awesome, great hair. It has to be genuine. And I think what it is, the energy transfers. And as long as we're already 29 minutes into the hour, I suppose I could segue into the next point as soon as I find out if you guys have any comments, epiphanies, ahas you would like to share about what we just talked about.
I do think it's energetic because I definitely do that in the store, but I almost see it as like just kind of like linking up with them, almost like sending out like a golden thread or like a spark or something like that. And you just like, hey, you look great in that coat, and you just like keep walking or whatever the case may be to on the fly. Very, very much so. I do that very often, and that's the only way that I can explain it, because it's just it sparks, and you just like they look at you at the same time, and you just have that moment of connection, and then you keep going. So you can say like,
and I'm glad you described it as that moment.
Yeah.
Because I tell a lot of my clients, especially those that are dealing with self-image and depression, anxiety, things of that nature, one of the protocols I have them do is to get a day planner with 1 day per page, keep it by their bedside, and at the end of the day, write down 3 cool things that you remember out of the day. And I always make the joke, it doesn't have to be massive, like, oh my gosh, I got to watch a baby giraffe being born under a double rainbow and doves flew out and glitter shot up. No, it can be something even that you just happen to mention. You noticed that somebody had a great outfit, and you got to say it to them, and you got to see that spark, that 1.2 second spark on the flyby compliment, and the glow that it put in both of you. That is definitely worthy of going into the My Awesome Life Day Planner.
I love that. That's a great one. I also like to do one in the morning. Like, what do you want to see today? I want to see people that are laughing. I want to have good conversations with my coworkers, and I want to listen to great music, and just boom, 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 those 3. And you prime yourself for those things, and just saying them out loud. And then as you're going throughout the day, it's like, I don't want to call them pop quizzes, like surprises, like surprise kisses or kisses from the universe, whatever you want to call them. I call pop quizzes something completely different. When the universe is testing you, it's like a pop quiz. It's like, okay, are you going to pull out your tools? Are you going to do your techniques? Are you going to do what you said you were going to do? And those I like to call pop quizzes.
And that's why I wrote down for my questioning affirmations, what will I be grateful for today? Whose life will I change for the better, even if I don't know about it? And
completely, yeah.
Did you want to say something, Holly?
I bet it's a bite you can finish what you're saying.
Huh?
I guess I'll jump in now. So everything everybody's been saying, there's kind of 3 things that have been popping into my head. One is just a tiny little side squirrel that ran through my mind. So if you're aware, all rainbows are double rainbows. It's a physics thing. My dad's a physicist, and so he let me watch a really cool lecture on rainbows. But the key is making sure you're looking for it to see it.
Awesome.
So that just kind of popped into my head of when you're looking for this and you're putting these on the list, they will be there. It's just being able to see it. The other thing that kind of popped into my head, so we were talking about, first of all, teens, tribes that maybe are only supposed to be with us for a while. And then talking about seeing somebody for maybe 3 minutes. And it just kind of linked in my mind of 3 minutes could be the while that they're supposed to be in my mind. And part of the reason this really was sinking in for me is because I was thinking about one of my first tribes that I ever allowed myself to be a part of. And I was so hesitant to trust. And, I'm one of those people, it's I hate the beginning part, because that's when you're building up the relationship. It's only when it gets meaningful towards the end, that it's so great. And I spent so much time being hesitant about the group that I finally started to trust them moments before the group broke up. And I wasted so much of that interaction just trying to warm up to it, and if I had just allowed myself to experience it and not worry about the fact, because that was the big thing. Oh, it's going to end. It's going to end. It's going to end. Well, of course it's going to end. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy it while it lasts. And then just kind of that thought that when you were talking about seeing somebody for 3 minutes and having that spark, it's the exact same principle, just shrunk on the time scale. So anyway, that was what was popping into my head.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And side note, we are a squirrel-friendly environment. I've got squirrels running across the street all the time. And for those of you that are watching this for the first time and you're thinking we're talking about real squirrels, no, those are the little squirrel idea that you got to grab onto, otherwise they're up in a tree and you can't remember what they were. The other thing, those of you that know me well know that I'm super shy. And yet there are times when I can go out into public and disappear into the corner just to people watch. But more often than not, I enjoy sparking up conversations with people because I can. And sometimes you meet the most amazing people for 3 minutes out of your entire life. And sometimes 3 minutes is enough, because it reminds you that there are all sorts of people out there. And I would rather have 3 minutes of exposure to a really, really cool person that I will never, ever see again than to risk being embarrassed or anxious or whatever of talking to a stranger. You ask my wife, there aren't many strangers in my world. They're just people I haven't talked to yet. And it's fun, especially when you learn the things that we teach, in some of my classes that I get to teach, and watch the transformation of people, especially when they learn the trifecta. And all of a sudden they're like, wait, you mean I can use this with anybody, anywhere? Yes, you are supposed to. Echo Talk, 3 magic questions, values and criteria. You should be using them with anybody that you have any interaction with for the rest of your life. That's all. It allows you to hear and understand them better. It allows them to feel heard and understood better. And even if you only get to interact with them for 3 minutes, A, you got to practice. B, they got the gift. C, it didn't cost you anything. And it may be one of those where you go home and go, God, I met this really cool person today. Had a great conversation. And of course, somebody be like, well, did you get their number? That wasn't it was just a 3-minute interaction that added to our lives. And there are some that I wish that I would have pursued or gotten more out of it, but I figure if I was supposed to, I would have, because there's plenty of them that I have. So thank you for bringing that squirrel back down the tree so that I could share that. Are we ready to move on to the second point? Because we got 2 left and we're 40 minutes into the hour. The second one should go pretty easy. I watched an Instagram today with the squirrel just ran away, with Amy Grant being interviewed about the conversation that she was having with her husband, as I understand it, Vince Gill. And he said, I'm paraphrasing now. You can look it up on YouTube. She was being interviewed by another person in the music industry, but he said, you can remember things about us or some on your hand. So 5 fingers, how can I help you? I'm proud of you. I love you. Thank you. And when it got down to the 1, she went through a number of really great answers. Every one would have been an amazing answer. And finally, she's like, I don't know what it is. And he said, we. And I was like, we! That was awesome. Because it doesn't have to mean 2. We can be 2 people. It can be 20, 200, 2,000, 2 million. And when you apply that, again, how can I help you? I'm proud of you. What's the cost for those? But what are the benefits? I love you should be said much more often. It's easy to take it for granted. Then you got all the love languages and, well, I made you supper, which means I love you. Well, say it anyway. 2, thank you. I think we're getting less and less prone to hearing that. Luckily, I'll have to admit, Texas still has some of the old school values that I really embrace. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you. All the above. And then number one, one word, we. And I missed Lenora's comment. No, it's okay. We can well, now everybody that's watching this that can't see the comments is going,
it's just the secret to life. It's no big deal. Just breeze right over it.
Serendipitous and random happen circumstance.
Yeah. When you had mentioned when you meet somebody and you don't catch their phone number, it like random happy circumstance.
And that's an amazing addition to that topic. It is. Because just like running across stuff like this, you can still use a good portion of those things, those reminders, with people that you have serendipitous and random happen circumstance exposure to. So any comments on that little blurb? Yes, no? Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure that that was out there for anybody who doesn't have.
I like the hand one, and I think it does a really nice job of, especially when you're wrapped up in your own head, to come back to your hand, and it takes you out of your head and it brings you into somewhere else. How may I serve? Or thank you so much for, or I've heard other ones like Gabby Bernstein does, peace begins with me. So even just coming up with something to draw your attention and bring your focus elsewhere to help stop the momentum of where else you were.
Yeah. And if you're in a relationship, you can start using, as long as you're not using number one in the wrong way. You're number one. I don't think that means what you think it said. So then I guess we can move on to the final one. 2-1-23. Anybody want to guess why I put that up as a topic?
I'm going with numbers.
2-1-23. Yes, Holly.
I have no idea if this is it, but the first thing that came into my mind was when we were talking about New Year's, about how you don't have to wait till New Year's to make your goals and start your life over again.
Very close. Tomorrow is February 1st.
It's a palindrome.
Huh?
I was going to say we're coming up on a palindrome, but
so that means we're 1/12 of the way through 23. Are we on track? How many people have done their homework? Set your goals, reverse engineered them, figured out where you should be tomorrow. How do you get back on track if you're behind? For those of you overachievers, if you're already 50% of the way to your goal, perfect. Then if you can complete that goal by June, July, how can you enhance it and make it even better? And break it down even more. Where do you want to be on 2/15/23? Where do you want to be on 3/1/23? And what mini goals can you put inside of those once you've achieved your monthly goal? And then finding an accountability partner. Writing down anything that you think may be holding you back. Is it a hardware? Is it a software? Is it monetary? Is it time constraint? All of the amazing excuses that love to pop up and give us permission to not accomplish what we know we are able to accomplish. And of course, there's always the saying, you can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. So, how can I help any of you that are hearing my voice right now, whether this is a recording or not? How can I help you accomplish your goals? Perfect time for me to throw in, I do offer a free 30-minute consultation. Just go to my website, thetswb.com, contact me, and I'll give you 30 minutes of my life to talk about anything you want to. And if I can help you, I will. If I can't and we're not a fit, I will let you know, and I will guide you as best as possible to find you the best solution, the best person to work with. End of ad. And that, whee. And so we've got 9 minis left in my hour. Any clarifications on any of the topics that we talked about, or any additions, ahas, epiphanies that y'all would like to share with the world? Speaking of the world, look at it, it's right there.
Amazing timing, Holly.
People are going to think we're rehearsing these things. No, just it's
Serendipitous.
it's that perfect when you've got the right tribe.
Well, I do have something if nobody else does. The first thought that came to my mind is actually just how many of my goals have changed, which is kind of, I'm just, not much seems to have changed, but I'm looking at my list and yeah, this quickly in, everything on my list has changed. So I guess that's okay. Not that what was before was bad, but I just, living life changes things.
That's life. That's what they say. We're all in this together. We're all in this to play. Woo-hoo. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because so many people think that they have to be, this is what I put down and now I have to, and if things change, I'm a failure. No. As long as you're continuing to move forward and upward. If you realize a goal is truly too hard or not yours, and you shift lateral or forward and upward, that's still moving forward. If you go, this is too hard, and you just shrink down and you go backwards, oh, that's a shame. So, 6 minis left in my hour. We can start your hour early if we want to, because I know some of you have some topics that we can jump right into. And for those of you watching the recording for the first time, typical format on Triple T is we go for 2 hours. First hour, I, as you noticed, open up my brains and spill them on the table and share with you guys. And that had so much energetics in it that it blew out my monitor, which looks like it's about to restart. So I'm driving blind and should be connecting with you soonly. There we are. It's fun. There are days I love technology, and then there's the rest of the year.
Okay, so I have a question.
Question.
Yes, for the entire group. And somebody who's watching on YouTube literally messaged me going, "Oh, I can't wait for your question." So, okay, so with the stuff that we've learned from Dolores Cannon and what we understand about the fact that we're here, that we're creators, what about the movie The Matrix? I see Linda's thing like popping around over there. So okay, so in the movie The Matrix, I actually for some reason just decided to watch the clip today of take the red pill, the blue pill. And Morpheus, it comes across like that you're going to come down the rabbit hole, but it's not going to be as maybe as nice of a rabbit hole as I think Dolores Cannon's rabbit hole is.
Yeah.
How do we clarify that?
Well, okay, this is your guys' hours. So who wants to answer before I do, please? Or are you going to let me? The first thing that popped into my head is life wasn't easy before you took the red pill.
I would agree with that.
And so if you took the red pill and it ran you down the rabbit hole, you're still living life.
Mm-hmm.
You're just seeing things now that you never saw before. And so life could and probably is getting a little more challenging in ways because you're still going to be around a tribe, many of which who have not taken the red pill, many of which who were not even given the option. They don't even know that it's an option. So when you talk about the red pill and the things that you know and what you're learning, you become the weird one.
Mm-hmm.
Until you meet others who have also taken the red pill, who go, yeah, like, right? Like, ugh.
It's wildly accurate.
And when the people who have taken the red pill share their stories of trying to explain this to people who have no idea what we're talking about and think we are all like, eek. You're going to realize that everybody's got the same rough rabbit hole, but now we have something in common. In fact, we end up with a lot of things in common. Is that?
But kinda. Is it maybe? And the person on YouTube goes, as usual, I don't quite understand what you're asking.
I think, oh, go ahead.
No, please.
Just as you were talking, one of the other things that kind of came into my head is this concept of easy in the short run versus easy in the long run.
Okay.
And two things were kind of popping into my head. One was also, for those who know Lillian Pearl Bridges, one of the things that she said that has always stuck with me is the idea of styrofoam brick walls.
Yeah, you've mentioned that, yeah.
And so, yeah, a lot of times what we're doing may seem hard, but when you actually get up to it, it's not always as hard as it seems. But also just kind of another one that came to my head was I had an Excel teacher in high school that used to always say, you can either do the work up front or you can do the work on, by sweating it out every single minute. Basically, in other words, you can build put a little work effort up front to build a really nice Excel spreadsheet that will do all the work for you forevermore, or you could just do the work forevermore. And a lot of times I just kind of, think that with the red pill is we're doing the work up front, but because we're becoming healthier, because we're becoming more energized. So I'm rambling a little bit, but that's another thing I've been thinking about a lot too, is the concept of effort. And I'm graphing it and trying to do math with it and everything. It's kind of interesting, but because I'm figuring some stuff out, but this idea of net energy, because everything we do, it may cost energy, but it may also give us energy. And if it's giving us energy, more energy than it's taking, that may be more important than the fact that it took energy, if that makes sense. So I know it's kind of a rambling answer, but
No. Super helpful. And I love that. And I'm definitely going to come back to it because I know that makes sense. But if I think about and keep in mind, I haven't seen The Matrix in ages. 4-minute clip and my brain has now spiraled. And
remember, The Matrix was not a movie, it was a documentary.
That's what I'm saying. So in that clip, it sounded like he was like, okay, this is people will fight for the death of the blue pill. Like this is what they're grasping onto. But in it, he also seemed like if you're coming over to the red pill, there's bad sides over here too. And that's where I feel like when I think about the stuff Dolores Cannon has said in the past, or Abraham Hicks, where it's like, it didn't seem like there was bad stuff over there. It just seemed like in the game in here. So I'm confused. If any of that makes sense.
Okay, sorry, I have another thought. Have you heard of the term cognitive dissonance?
Yes, you've mentioned it before.
Okay, this is reminding me of cognitive dissonance because this, like I said, it's funny how this all is like the stuff I've been like journaling about for days. But there's an idea kind of too that in order to go to the red pill, sometimes we have to give up the stories and the excuses that we're holding on to, and sometimes that's a huge price to have to pay. And the other thing is, once we know better, we have to be better. That concept of unto whom much is given, much is required. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you get way more with the red pill, but a lot more is going to be required of you as well. But it will be worth it if you're willing to become the person who's able to have more. And because that's why is because we're becoming the person who's capable of having everything. Mm-hmm. And that is not an easy process. But yeah, so the example I was giving is, say that you believe that all women can't be millionaires because of the patriarchy. And then suddenly the opportunity comes that you could become a millionaire. Becoming a millionaire means you also are going to have to admit for the past 15 years that women could have been millionaires. Okay. And that can be a really painful, because now I've taken away my excuse. Now I have to say, no, it was me. I didn't step up. I didn't do what I could do. Okay. And so I can either use that as a learning experience and say, oh, I was wrong. Good. I can see the world with new eyes. Or I can say, you know what? I have repeated that over and over and over again. It's everything that I am. And I don't want to admit that I was wrong. I don't want to admit that I could have done better, that it was up to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to my excuses and I'm not going to become a millionaire. I'm going to sabotage myself unconsciously so that I can keep my story, keep my excuses, if that makes sense.
Okay. It does, because so here's what I've been going over the last couple of days. That every moment you are laying forward like bricks, like you're putting down bricks, whether you want to put them down in a positive or a less than positive, you're putting bricks down to go as you're driving along, and everything else behind you and everything around you that you're not associating with positive, or you're saying, okay, this was a lesson, I now have to let that go and to move forward. So when you have those repetitive thoughts that might not be the best serving thoughts, you have to stand guard at the doorway of your mind and to really say, okay, that's the old story. Nope, we're reframing it and reframing it. And I like how you said, that's really interesting the way you just said with cognitive dissonance, because you know more, you're now having to not quite do more. It's you're more is being expected of you. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and to whom much is required is the official.
So that reframing, more is required, more reframing is required, because you're now fine tuning it. You're getting more specific, more clarity, more clear. Yeah.
Hey, Lenora.
Hey, Linda.
I
I knew you were gonna come out.
well, so I got a brand new baby puppy here I'm playing with, so I'm a little bit distracted. But here's the baby. So I think what the question was is, why is life hard?
Not so much that life is hard, but like, so now when we think about it on the red side, okay, so we're an extension of source energy, and we're a channel, and we are receiving information and we're executing on information. The other channel, the non-physical, the universe, is there good and bad to that also, or is it just pure positive energy, so therefore there is no bad?
Well, let me come at this from a slightly different perspective, and then you tell me how close I got.
Okay.
Okay, so you're right on with we are all the reflections of source. We're all the light of source shining through different lanterns, as it were. So we've incorporated into these physical bodies. And two things. One, we're here to learn lessons, because when you're non-corporeal, when you're a non-incarnated spirit, when you're a spirit, an energy, a sliver of divine source without a body, it's tough to learn. It's tough to learn anything, right? How are you going to have experiences that teach you when you're not physical? So physical incarnation, this is like the PhD program here, because Earth is tough. Earth is tough because we are disconnected. Not only are we disconnected from source, but we're disconnected from our knowledge of source. So we kind of got, thrown off the boat, and we're floating all by ourselves in the ocean. The purpose of that is that it is tough. And the purpose of that is that we have the opportunity to learn lessons in a time frame that's extremely compressed. I mean, in a non-corporeal body, if we're just floating around being spirits out there, where does the experience come from that allows us to learn? Well, we could take us a couple billion years to learn that we needed to get some patience. Right? As a physical human being, you probably have opportunities every single day to recognize the fact that, maybe patience is what you needed to learn. So it's a compressed, highly compressed and highly difficult experience, A, being in physical, and B, being separated from source and being separated from knowledge of source. But the intent of all of that is that this difficulty allows us to learn lessons much more quickly than we would on the other side.
Okay. And on the other side. Okay. I like how you wrap that up. Whoop.
Did that come close to the question?
Yes, definitely. On the other side, where from source energy, where everything comes from, is it only pure? I don't even know the answer. Is it only pure positive energy, or is there a less than positive component to it? Or the less than positive is like when you come here and you experience certain things, and it depends on your own perspective.
Yes, and yes.
Okay.
Less than positive absolutely depends. Okay, there's no night without day.
And isn't that
And
here though, because it's duality?
Well, no, yes, but you can't assume that duality. We see it as duality, but you could see it as variety. That
look at you.
That
Reframing.
the universe loves diversity.
Okay.
The universe loves novelty. If we are all the light of the divine shining through different lanterns, imagine that the divine, the all-knowing, the super whatever intelligent would want to experience all things in order that it would what's a better word than learn? It's learning. Explore. As we learn. We're the experiential arm of this intelligence. So this intelligence wants to learn and experience everything. And as such, there is, okay, let me put it to you like this. A year or two ago, I ran into this really, really, really unpleasant person. And then someone came along and I was talking to the person about that experience. And I said, well, this is the way I look at it. I said, that's God expressing himself as a bitch. Okay. All right. So what that meant, if God, wouldn't it be really boring if God only presented or origin or source or whatever, universe, only presented as, one thing, nice and sweet, and then what have we got to play against, right? Who have we got to push our buttons so we can learn our lessons if everything is fabulous and lovely? Now, I think where you're going is, are there negative entities and are there dark forces and all that kind of stuff out there? And the answer to that is A, I don't remember from when I was over there. So I don't know for sure. And B, I'm certain that it all depends on perspective. So for instance, owls hunt at night. So night's good.
Yeah.
Humans don't see so good at night. So night's not so good.
Perspective. Okay.
So I'm not sure, we've got to, again, you got to go back and realize that we've got our very, very limited human perspective.
Okay.
We're barely connected to energy, only in the tiniest amount, and to assume that we understand what the heck's going on, right? That's a real push.
Yeah.
So I kind of hesitate to label things, I mean, yeah, sure, in my life, good and bad, but in terms of the spirit world, the other side, the overall energies, the yada yada, I hate to label because I don't feel like I know enough. Now, here's something I learned this week that's gonna hopefully blow your mind, because it blew my mind, and it takes a lot to blow my mind anymore.
Okay.
The universe, you've heard about dark matter and all that kind of business. Well, the universe is actually 99, more than 99, but we'll just go there, 99% plasma.
Okay.
What plasma is just kind of a conglomeration of positive and negative particles that are too small. They're not matter. And in fact, when they get conglomerated enough, they actually start to create these nano microscopic little dust pieces, which is how matter comes into being, which is a very long-winded way of saying 99% of the universe is plasma. All of our physics and all of our understanding is based on physical material reality, which is less than 1% of the universe.
Well, fine.
And what that means is we're not just blind as bats. We have no freaking idea that our science can't help us. Our past knowledge. I mean, we have absolutely no idea what the heck we're doing here. So I try to keep a really open mind about stuff. I mean, do I want negative experiences? No. Do I think there's negative realms? I don't know. Maybe people have had those experiences. I haven't had them. But I think it's the very, very, very long-winded answer to say, I think that's impossible to answer. Because our experience is such a tiny, 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 tiny little piece of everything that's out there.
That was beautifully summed up. And I feel like TJ's main quote of we're all doing the best that we can with the tools, time, knowledge, and energy available to us is just like wrapped in the like perfect bow, and like, here's this golden and we are gonna be right now ever. Thank you, Linda, for wrapping that up so beautifully.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I don't have a hard.
No, that was phenomenal, and it really like helped.
Actually, I was going to say it's almost like trying to explain to somebody how a rose smells who's never seen flowers.
No,
okay.
She did such a great job. You guys are so helpful. Thank you.
That's why I'm just like, Thank God she took that answer on, because I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's all I give up. Personally, I just give up. There isn't going to be any making sense out of the bigger stuff. So I've just kind of decided the thing to do is just experience it and sort it out from my own personal perspective. And I asked the same questions you asked, Lenora, because it's really interesting. And that's kind of sort of how I had a perspective on it for you, as I've been kind of trying to sort that business out myself.
I love that you had that same perspective. I thought for sure you were going to say, I've just given up and I got a puppy.
I've given up. I have a puppy. Screw the rest of it. Yeah. Well, no, I might be a little distracted, but
for a woman who thinks she's distracted, that was incredibly helpful.
Yeah. No, but really, I mean, I've been kind of playing around with, the part that I hadn't really experienced or, thought much about is the negative realms. And I'm not going to go very deep into that because, who wants that experience? Other people have reported that. And me personally, where I kind of come down on this whole thing is that, our experience is really weird, and humans are crazy powerful. Humans have just an amazing range of ability to create. And I would say create what we currently think of as our reality. So what I am starting to suspect is that, if we think a lot about the negative, if we, think about the negative entities or dark or whatever, you actually call it into your life. You actually create it.
Yeah.
And you can actually create it in the physical. And then you can get into how that happens. And I could kind of explain that. But I think that our thoughts create reality. Our thoughts and emotions combined together create reality. So if you start thinking about, dark stuff and all this, ugly stuff, yeah, you can create it in your life. You betcha. On the other hand, if you, just manage to find a little bit of discipline, as TJ's commonly expressing the benefits of discipline, making lists, accountability, that kind of stuff. There's also the mental and emotional discipline of keeping your thoughts and heart and energy on the positive side, and creating experiences in the light as opposed to creating experiences in the dark. I'm quickly coming to the conclusion that our thoughts, emotions, and feelings create our reality. So think about what you want, and I think you're likely to get it. So if you start thinking about the dark stuff, it could be showing up in your life.
Awesome.
Another reason why I'm so adamant about self-talk. Very much so.
Okay, so was that too much? Did I totally weird everybody out?
No,
Nope.
I thought it was fantastic.
Okay.
That's why I'm quiet, because I'm smart enough to go. That's why I have a second hour on Triple T, because it's like I've said it many times. I don't want this to be the TJ talking head hour. Listen to me. Look at me.
Yeah, but you kind of hate to be that person at the party that all of a sudden you say something and the conversation just stops. You're like, oh shoot, I guess I better go home now.
No. I feel like I'm just digesting it. To be honest, I'm just like, it's like settling in, and
it's a lot.
Quite honestly, Linda, you really I can spiral like a world-class Olympian. I could spiral down a negative loop. So thank you for making sure I slept tonight.
Hey, listen,
and for the next week.
I'm gonna give you this. And somebody who is very wise gave me this. When you go to sleep tonight, And they gave me this as a grounding exercise.
Mm.
When you go to sleep tonight, imagine yourself in a tree, in the branches of a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of meld your body in with the trunk of the tree. And then you sort of put your feet down into the roots of the tree.
Okay.
And ground yourself into the energies of the earth. And go to sleep at night. Be thinking about that last thing when you go to sleep at night. I have been having amazing dreams. And I wake up in the morning and I really feel good. And it's just that I managed to get myself all nice, solidly grounded back into the energies of the earth just by thinking about it when I went to sleep.
That's awesome. Thank you for that one.
Yeah, you're welcome, and easy to do.
Big squirrel. Has anybody else had elevated dreams in the last couple of weeks?
Me. What exactly do you mean by that? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I dream like 98% of the night when I'm sleeping. I don't know of too many nights that I've gone without dreaming. And I'm talking Technicolor, lucid. But in the last couple of weeks, holy Calamity Jane, what the? And I've had 5 people reach out to me now, and a couple of clients as well, going, lately I've been having these crazy dreams. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm just wondering if any of you all have, in the last couple of weeks, had dreams elevated to like the next level, or if you never dream, all of a sudden you had a dream, or if you occasionally dream, now you've had a few more, or if you're like me and you dream all the time, if it just went up into the, you went from the triplex to the IMAX theater going, what do I?
Yeah, well, the earth energies are shifting. It's if you're connected to the earth and the earth energies, or if you're aware of it, yeah, it's a big deal.
Is that what's causing it? I honestly hadn't put 2 and 2 together that other people might be having the same experience, but that is fascinating. I mean, I haven't had a ton of them, but a couple.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because sometimes, nobody says anything, and then all of a sudden somebody is like brave enough to say something, and everybody's like, you too? Yeah. So I just wanted to.
Well, we're evolved here, and we're intimately connected. We resonate at the same frequency as the earth. That's the Schumann resonance. And the Schumann resonance it does fluctuate, and it is changing as we're actually entering a new area of space, and our the magnetic poles on the earth are moving, and there's a lot. The sun is coming into solar maximum, and we've been seeing a lot of sun activity, a lot. So the frequency and the frequency of the energies and how often we're getting big shifts has increased dramatically.
Well, that explains it. I must be tuned into the Earth's energy a lot, because I've been dreaming crazy most of my life, and I've described a few of them to my wife, which usually ends up with the same facial expression. So yeah, those are just the small details, but I can give details down to license plate numbers, type of car, color of car, smells, locations, activities. And there are times when I wake up in the morning and because of dream theater, I'm almost as tired when I wake up as when I went to bed because of the activity level that was happening in my dreams. I wake up and I'm just like, oh, that was a busy flipping night.
Yeah.
Now I need a nap.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. So for those of you that are out there who've experienced this as well, put down some comments. I'm interested to see how many more of you have also noticed a little change in dream theater.
And some people really get yanked around by these changes. I'm one of those people. And I find it just really exhausting, very tiring. Some people are really getting zapped. Some people are getting, have you noticed the amount of forgetfulness and mental bobbles that people have been going through, and how people seem to have problems? Like I was making an appointment for some massage, and I was starting to worry about this lady because it was like, 5, 6, 7 communications with the exact same, information, and it's like not getting through. And I'm like, sure, I don't know. But I've noticed that kind of thing a lot more. Has anybody else noticed it?
Good. We're not alone. Any other topics, questions, things? Yes.
I definitely have one. Changing topics completely. So I've been thinking a lot about the concept of, so if somebody came to us and wanted to quit smoking, and they really did want to quit smoking, we'd help them do that, right? Yeah. If they wanted to lose weight and they really wanted to lose weight and they came to us, we'd help them with that. So, but my mind has been going a lot to that. What if they come to us wanting to quit smoking? And first of all, is that something that we would do, or would we say, no, come back when you want it? Or would we say, that's something you want, I'm going to help you get it? And if so, what would be the best strategies to help overcome why they don't want to do it and help them want to do it?
Anybody want to chime in before I do?
My first thought was values and criteria. So I want to do this. And when you want to do it, tell me more. What's wanting, this yearning that you have? At least for me, when it comes to wanting, there's like, yeah, I want it in a stomach feeling, but then there's a yearning, like a heart, like it's a pull. I wish, I want to do that. I want to be one of those people that do that. And what's that block about? That was my first instinct.
Yeah. Values and criteria. Why is it important to you? Why did you even bring it up? Why did you have that first thought? And don't be afraid to disqualify them. The takeaway, why do you want to quit smoking? Well, my wife doesn't like it. Not, why do you want to quit smoking? Well, I don't. Then don't. Keep smoking. What? They have to want it for themselves. You can educate them, although in this day and age, there aren't too many people that I've met that smoke that don't realize that it's not the healthiest thing for them. They kind of figured that out. So in the values and criteria, you dig down to find out what is their why? Why would they be willing to do that? Why would you be willing to do what it takes to lose weight? Why would you be willing to go to night school to get a new degree when you already have a job? You know, what is the motivator? And chunk up, chunk down, V and C, and what Lenora is about to say.
I agree with the smoking. I hear a lot of, I wish I was one of those people that would get up in the first thing in the morning, or I wish I was one of those people that wanted to work out, or like those are the types of statements that I hear. So I follow you on the smoking one. So I didn't know if we wanted to dissect another one.
But they're all for the
What's the
most part
motivator?
attainable objectives. It comes down to, again, like I've said before, is it a hardware, is it a software issue? You know, I'm 4'11" and I want to be a professional NBA player. Gonna have to work your butt off. I'm never going to tell you that you absolutely can't. There are a few things, but I'm not going to get into them now in our woke culture. But if it's something like I want to quit smoking, or I want to get better at getting up in the morning, or I want to eat healthier, a good portion of that is software issues, values and criteria, environmental. I don't remember exactly what it was that all of the factors that Jordan Peterson talked about people need to change. Who wants to help me on that one?
He's got a ton on that one.
Well, it was when you have enough money to change.
Oh, you mean John Maxwell?
Oh, John Maxwell. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, got
Okay.
my inspirationals mixed up.
I do have them written down. When you learn enough, when you have enough money to change, then you when you want to enough.
You have the desire, the money, the environment. And the answer is coming up. We're going to see how we did on the test. Right now, I'm pulling a heavy C-. The cool part is, if you surround yourself with the right tribe, somebody has the answer.
Yeah, it's just a matter of got it. Knew it. When it that's a big deal that I pulled out the right one. Heard enough that they have to, when they see enough that they're inspired to, when they learn enough that they want to, and then when they receive enough that they are able to.
I got a D+. Actually a D, because I got the wrong inspirational guy too. So, but hey, we're still on the playing field. What do you call a doctor who graduates with a C- GPA? Doctor. You just don't want him doing brain surgery on you. And that leaves us with 25 minis left in the second hour. Anybody got anything else that you want to throw at the team? Bueller.
I was typing.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes, that was amazing. I'll throw out another question if somebody, this is a quick one. I'm trying to determine if are pain and pleasure opposites? In other words, are units of pleasure negative units of pain, or are units of pain negative units of pleasure in a mathematical, and not like perfectly. I'm just trying to, is it at all, or is it somewhat correlated? Is it not correlated at all? I can't figure it out.
My first instinct was perspective.
Okay. Perspective is another piece that I've got. So I have perspective and interpretation of, because like perception and interpretation, because you could barely perceive it, or you could perceive it in the opposite way to which it would be.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a whole perception, and you can throw values and criteria right in along with that as well. Some people in some countries or beliefs, you get enlightenment through pain, and so they thrive in the pleasure of the pain. There are certain environments. Go ahead.
Oh wait, you're good.
Oh, there are certain environments where people go for pain for the pleasure of it. Your turn.
There is so yes, I'm following on the pain and the pleasure. It depends on you could also call it comfort versus discomfort. There's a great book, The Discomfort or the Comfort Crisis, and they explore a lot about leaning into the discomfort. Have you heard of it? I see you smiling, so I'm not sure if you've heard it. Okay, so they explore a lot in the leaning into the discomfort. And when TJ said they get enlightenment through pain, but also they explore the discomfort on a very frequent basis, and quite literally lean into it every day. And then that also, when he said parts of the world, it reminded me of another tribe. They actually, the name is slipping me, but what they do is they contemplate death, their own death, at least 3 times a day. And because they do that, they have a deeper understanding of it, but also trivial things might not hold them back. Like, sometimes if people will say like, oh, going out gives me anxiety, whatever the case may be. And for them, because they're leaning into the discomfort all the time, they push that threshold. So they learn their threshold limits, and they're able to raise them more and more each time. So it just is, exploring that pain versus pleasure, or that discomfort versus discomfort component, and seeing what's the right fit. I would say for me, leaning into it, but then coming back and writing down, I did this. It was uncomfortable, but I survived. And this is what I learned. And really drawing my own awareness of when I'm uncomfortable, and noticing I was able to come back to a comfortable space, and I felt that growth. That would be the defining moment from my perspective.
And then
awesome.
we can also move past the physical realm to the mental realm. And a lot of that'll come down to interpretation, how we record, what energy we put into certain things. These are things that, those of us in the industry have to take people with PTSD and stuff like that have experienced things that they have recorded as massively traumatic. painful. And learn how to discharge the recording, how to reframe it, how to basically take the pain out of it and allow them to go back and move forward without dragging that pain around. So there's that angle as well. So thank you for bringing that up, because there are some people that may need to see this, may need to hear this and understand that. Is it painful? Is it painful enough that you need to change? Is it, is it, at what point is enough enough?
I really like when Tony Robbins, he will say, you don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. And really, is it enough? And that's the other thing, is you can push your threshold for your own tolerance so far, you have no idea how bad, until somebody else, not in a judging way, just points out in a different perspective, like, oh, okay, that's gotten a little out of hand. And you're like, what are you talking about? And well, let's look at it from this angle. And I hands down would say that that's significantly happened to me in my life. Yeah. Because you can push it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more every day.
Well, that would go right into, how do people become smokers? Ironically, as a former smoker, I've asked a number of people that have come to me for a smoke cessation if they remember that very first drag off of a cigarette or a pipe or a cigar or whatever. Do you remember how amazingly pleasurable it was? Took that big drag, took a nice deep inhale, and your body went, oh, I could do this forever. No. The vast majority of us coughed and hacked and coughed up a spleen and turned green, and a couple of us threw up, and we kept going at it until not only did we become comfortable with it, it became a pleasure. So much so that even though everything out there is saying, this kills you, just so you know, it'll kill you. It has the ability to kill you, and it doesn't improve your health. And we're like, but I can't live without it. I enjoy it, and I don't know how to quit. The pleasure is so good. Here, you've never smoked before in your life. Try it. You'll love it. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry I made you throw up.
Amazing point.
Sad part is, some people get the exact same way with living with narcissistic, toxic environments. If you grew up in a household where it was a toxic environment, and there was screaming and yelling, and the only way that you got paid attention to is when something went wrong, the pain becomes the pleasure, and it becomes normal. And then you get out into the world, you meet somebody who's grown up in a completely different environment. And that pleasure can be so foreign that it's almost painful. Some people enjoy the storm, enjoy being the center of the storm so much that when it's calm, they will create the storm simply to feel comfortable. Yeehaw! Now, erase, 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 get all that negative energy out of the room. Because then you see a bunch of puppies, and you're like, oh, puppies! You feel better, because that's almost universal. Almost. So we have 15 minis left. What else we got? Come on, I know you guys got stuff, and stop with the whole, but somebody else might have a question.
Just being considerate.
Yes. Okay, considerate is over.
Go for it, Holly.
Am I gonna have to start flipping coins like?
What was it? It was about values and criteria, and I forget the question. Like if you were summing it up to somebody in short moments, what are you looking for and why is it important? Were those your two go-to questions? Do you have other questions that you would encourage people to ask, or like basically digging down to what is that why, and how do you know when you have that why?
How will you know when you get it?
Okay.
If most of them will be able to answer that. Some won't, but the vast majority of them will. When you go, okay, what's important to you? Why is that important? How will you know when you get it?
Okay.
When it hits with the how will you know when you get it, that's when their values and criteria will be exposed to them.
Okay.
And that's why that portion of the question is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I don't feel like,
no, I was going to say, if they don't have that matrix of awareness, it's going to be hard for them to understand when they finally arrived at their destination. And there's our lovely Fran.
she's back.
I'll jump in on that one too, real fast.
Please.
First of all, whenever you see someone shun, you know you've made it there. And then just kind of another thing, I think it's really fascinating that when you want to find someone's why, you never ask why. You ask what, you ask how, but you never ask why.
That's an interesting one I've never heard.
Yep, because you continue drilling down until you start going horizontal.
Okay.
When they no longer are able to drill down deeper and give you deeper answers, you've gone as far as they can go, and now you can, okay, so this is what you need. How will you know when you get it? And then they can describe to you their understanding of that level. And sometimes that can also be a step.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that to ratchet deeper. And if you can get them to have an emotional abreaction, you know you've reached it. If they start crying, you have reached that level that will get them to do it.
Okay.
I've thanks to Ken Guzzo, shout out to Ken, one of the most amazing smoke cessation protocol teachers I've ever met. And because of what he taught, I've been able to help a number of people quit nicotine. Ironically, a couple of them out on the street. I had them get a hold of me later. I gave them my card, and I just had time. And after smoking as long as I have, I'm a little motivated to help people. So
I feel like it's almost so overlooked.
that is a correct statement. Did that answer it well enough? We got 10 minutes left. My dear friend, did you have something that you would like us to address for you, or?
Probably a bullet to the head would be nice. I feel crushed today, so I need some friendliness and loving and support.
Okay, a big 50 caliber bullet of happiness right into the chakra that needs it the most, because we love and adore you. And
That would be really cool. Thank you.
And you know what? For some reason, this popped up, and you don't even have to go back and watch the replay, because I think that you need this. This right here, 5 points. Okay? It's the number of words for each one. 5. How can I help you? 4. I'm proud of you. 3. Fran, I love you. I love you. 2. Thank you for showing up today, because I miss your face. And the 1 word, we. We all care about you. And we're here for you anytime you need to reach out. One more time. 5. How can I help you? We can even replace I with we. How can we help you? 4. We're proud of you. More than you probably admit or will take in. 3. We love you. If you have to question that, read it again. It's on replay. You can watch it all the time. 2, thank you for being in our tribe. 1, we're here for you.
Good. Thank you. That's lovely.
Well, now I know why that one showed up today.
A little bit of reality shifting would be good as well. Can you do that?
Yes. In where I'm sitting right now, it's January 31st, 2023. And where you're at, I believe it's February 1st, 2023. And the fact that you can hear my voice right now means that you have survived 100% of everything life has ever thrown at you. There's not one single thing from your past, whether it be an hour ago, a day ago, a year ago, a decade ago. There's not one single thing from your past that you are not stronger than. You made it. You survived.
And I want a really juicy, powerful Shen and whatever else power, life force, energy, power to live every day. And at the moment, it's a little bit dull.
Good. You know why? Now you got something to compare the bright, shiny day to.
Yeah.
And you can look back and go, that was yesterday. I got
How
more.
would I know?
Huh?
How would I know how bright it was if it didn't have a little bit of contrast occasionally?
That's right. Can't have daylight without the darkness to compare it to. Right now it's what are we down to now? Here it is 27 degrees Fahrenheit, which, because we've had 107 degrees Fahrenheit, I know this is cold, but to put it in comparison, where my mother is right now, it is the same number Celsius as it is when it's Fahrenheit. 0. No, wait, 0 is 32 in, yeah. So
Yep.
it's below 0 Celsius. I should figure out how to do a quick change on that. So using that, I've seen you ecstatically happy and full of Shen. And I know that you can have it again. Probably about by noon or this afternoon.
I have to adjust to a new reality, and that might not happen this afternoon.
All right. Oh,
But you never know.
Holly helped us out. 0 degrees Fahrenheit is 17.78 below Celsius. Yeah. A tad
We're
chilly.
going in the opposite direction here. It's quite warm.
Yeah. Oh, and here it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It's negative 6.67 Celsius.
Right. We are probably about plus 30 at the moment, going to get warmer.
Yes.
Celsius.
And pretty soon, it won't take long. We'll, here in Texas, we'll be complaining because it's hot. Yeah. It's a nice thing about Minnesota. You always had something to complain about. The weather, the mosquitoes, the ice, the cold. And I said, well, what if we just stopped finding things to complain about? What if we only found things to be happy about? I got to spend, not I, no team, no I in team. We got to spend 15 minutes with Fran today.
Thank you for being my wonderful friends. Yes. And how can this be an even better thing?
Because we're living in a time with technology that allows us to connect, even though you're down under and I'm in Texas and somebody else is in Nevada and somebody else is in frickin' squirrels, Pennsylvania. I'm gonna get in trouble now. Because the first thing that popped up was Jersey, and I know that that's not the right answer. And
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Did I said that?
Well, you said Jersey, so we're close.
No, I said,
Did you say Pennsylvania? Sorry. Somebody on YouTube sent me a message to send to Fran. So
okay, good. I don't feel so bad then. And we got somebody in Florida. So because of technology, all of us get to send, then that's just on this call. We got people live on YouTube sending you energy because you're worth it.
He's just sent me an altered corny song on YouTube. That's really nice. Oh.
And of course, that brings us right up to the top of the hour, where my promise to all of you that are willing to invest your time with me and with this platform, I have to shut it down out of respect of your time, because I will always say it's the one thing that I cannot give you more of. But hopefully I can enrich any amount that you spend and invest and give to me. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for taking your time. For you guys, if you don't know how I feel about you right now, watch rewinds and all the above, because in all these and all that good stuff. And if you're watching the recording, it's the same. I appreciate every single one of you. I do, because if it weren't for you guys, I'd be sitting in front of a computer talking to a camera. We got meds for that. So until next week, which will be next month, I'll be curious as to your evaluations of where you are on your goals to be more in 24. We're already 1/12 of the way through the year, as a reminder. And I'm looking forward to seeing your beautiful faces again in 7 wonderful days. Until then, take care of yourself. Go out in the world, be nice to each other. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, TJ, for doing this.
Good night. Thanks, TJ.
Good to see you all.